AM 1460, the new WXBR. You are listening to the Metro South Morning Show. Peter Czymbor and Mike Pava here with you on this Monday morning. This Wednesday night at the House of Blues in Boston, performing with his wife Pat Benatar, is Neil Giraldo, and Neil joins us right now via the telephone. Neil, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Peter. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Neil. This Wednesday in Boston, and then following that show in Boston, more or less everywhere else in New England. Thursday, you guys will be in Concord, New Hampshire. Saturday, back in Webster, Massachusetts. Sunday in Portland, Maine. Then you take a week away from New England. You guys come back close to us in Newport, Rhode Island. You're touring the entire country, in this entire region of the country in particular.
Yeah, it looks like we're hanging there for a little while. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's such a great time of the year to be in that area anyway. But the folks in Boston and that surrounding area are great fans, and we always enjoy coming there.
When you guys tour the country, you play big cities like Boston, but then you play a lot of places like Webster, Massachusetts, which may not get too many major acts hitting their town here and there. What's the difference between performing in big cities like Boston and places that might be a little more out of reach?
Well, years ago there was a difference when there was no internet and people they weren't part of that metropolis kind of vibe because they were living outside of those things. But these days it seems like they're about the same. They all are. Everybody likes to have a good time. Everybody likes to rock. They like to do what they do when they come and see us. So there's really not much difference. It used to be, but not anymore.
Once again, we're chatting with Neil Giraldo here on AM 1460, the new WXBR, performing alongside his wife, Pat Benatar, at the House of Blues in Boston Wednesday night. Neil, you're the guitarist with Pat Benatar, but you're far more than just the touring guitarist. You actually collaborate quite a bit with your wife on her music.
Oh, absolutely. We were partners, equal partners from the very beginning. In fact, we've said it many times. It should have been a band, but it was okay the way it was presented because it worked out really well. But yeah, we put it together basically when we met. We had a nice talk. We got along really well. We became each other's muse, and my job really basically was to create the sound and get the musicians and write, produce, arrange, and kind of that's how it worked. And it's worked for 35 years, and it worked out okay, I think.
In the creative process, there are often difference between band members. What's it like collaborating creatively with your wife? Ever any disagreements or anything of that nature?
No. Well, there are, but disagreements would be the wrong thing. Discussions, I like to call them, because they're not even arguments. The way I describe our relationship is simple. In all relationships, somebody's got to be passive, somebody's got to be assertive. In our professional musical life, I'm way more assertive. She's much more passive. In our family life, she's way more assertive. I'm more passive. In other words, the day would be follow as this. Spider, that's my name. She goes, Spider, what do you want to do? I says, well, I'm thinking about creating. I want to go this direction. I'm thinking about doing this time. I want to make a record like this. She goes, okay, that's fine. Let's go. And it's really quite simple. And then when I'm at home, I got two daughters. My dogs are all females. My housekeeper's female, and they just push me around. I'm like a pet. I'm a pet to them. It's so passive.
So if the kids want something, they go to you as opposed to going to mom.
Oh yeah, when they want to get something like that, of course, yeah, because I'm way more easy when it comes to that. So, but in the professional thing, it's a totally different way.
We're chatting with Neil Giraldo here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. How'd you get the nickname Spider?
Well, I wish I could tell you a story that's like really exciting and stuff, but it was very simple. During our first tour in 1979, Patricia and I were just walking the streets a little bit before the gig, and we saw a sign that said Spider's Dinner Club or something like that, and it was in black and yellow. Patricia knew I liked the colors black and yellow. Spider was spelled with a Y. She knows I like to drive fast. We looked at it. She goes, oh, I think I'll call you Spider. And that was it.
I like how you called your wife Pat Benatar Patricia. Is that what you call her when you're in conversation with her?
Absolutely, all the time. Yeah.
I've never heard her referred to as Patricia before outside of this interview right now.
Well, you wouldn't, because that's Patricia Giraldo. That's my wife. That's what we talk. We talk like that. That's kind of who we are in our real
I feel like
world.
we're getting good insight into the personal life of yourself and Pat Benatar here this morning, so I'm quite intrigued. Once again, we're chatting with Neil Giraldo here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. Outside of your wife, Pat Benatar, who is some of the favorite musicians that you've collaborated with in your lengthy career playing guitar?
Oh, jeez. Well, producing. I really enjoyed working with John Waite. Patricia with him, Rick Springfield, I did Jesse's Girl. Those things were all fun. Beth Hart, who I think is an incredible artist as well. Oh, Steve Forbert. I've worked with lots of people, lots of different people. I never had really a bad time. Always a great time. I've been very lucky to work with amazing singers, writers. It's worked out really well.
Can you be quite as assertive with other musicians who aren't your wife when you're working with them as you are with Patricia? Like how work that in there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All the time. That's what they want me for. That's why they like working with me, because I know what we want. I know what they want. Once I do figure out what they want, I'm going to give them that. And people need to be directed. You know, that's why the word producer is sort of misleading. It should be director. That's more of what you do when you produce records. You almost direct the person, try to create an environment where they can have a great performance, and that's really part of it. Just like a coach does to their team. You know, the coach sets up their environment, and what that coach says to their players determines how well they play, whether they play good or bad. And really, that's what you kind of do. And the reason why people like to work with me is because I don't waffle. I'm a stand-up guy, and I'll tell them what I think. And people want to hear that. They don't want to be yes but that, you know.
With the way the music industry has changed since you initially joined the music industry, just in terms of formats from records to cassettes to CDs and now to iTunes and digital downloads, are you seeing a resurgence of songs that you did years and years ago because they're being downloaded and purchased in different media formats, and you're seeing the sales go up, and you're thinking to yourself, why is this suddenly so popular? Again?
I don't know. It's just it's another outlet that was there. It just changed, just like 78s went to 33 and a third and 45s and the whole thing. I mean, again, globally, the internet changed so many things that I think it's fantastic that you can find just about anything. I mean, songs pop into my head, and I go, I haven't heard that in a long time. Let me go find that. I'm going to listen to that again. I think it's fantastic. People ask me all the time, would you like to be in this era now, starting off when you did? And it's a split. I have a 50-50 because back in the olden days, you had to create things basically from nothing. You had no safety net. Today you have a recording situation with Pro Tools, Logic, these programs that you have the safety net. You can fix. We didn't fix back then. You had to grab it. If you didn't get it, you had to keep doing it until you did get it. So I like it. I think it's opened up great. I love that it's accessible for anybody to listen and watch anything. It's fantastic.
Do you think with the advent of digital downloads and all the music that you can gather on the internet and whatnot, it's sort of been the demise of the album to a degree because kids these days are picking up singles and individual songs and whatnot?
That's correct. I think so, because albums used to have a flow to them. You listen for the first song and you worked that all the way through. Anytime I made a record, I made it so it led you like as if you were listening to a concert where you start off strong and then you just kind of, you can expand in the middle. But that's just what it's about now. And I was watching a thing on baseball this morning. They're talking about using instant replay and stuff, and that baseball to the young people, some of it is kind of boring to them. They want everything right now. That's what social media did. You want everything right now. And I saw that digital thing happening way before it did. And I said, you know what, this is going to revolutionize. And this is going to be a really good thing. And I tried to prepare myself early on for that because I did see that coming. And I think it's a great thing, again, like I said.
I think one of the initial things that the record industry did wrong was, say, late 90s when Napster came out. They immediately tried to shut down what was happening on the internet as opposed to go with the times and create a way to profiteer off the internet, a la the way they did it with iTunes, ultimately.
Yeah, that's correct. They did, but again, record companies in the beginning were basing a lot of things, I'm going to call the word greed, because it was based a lot on greed, and it was a poorly designed business. Not to them, but to the people that were making the music, to think that they could own your music, and that it was a horrible format. So, they've made bad decisions, and they're smart people because they have a sense of business that sort of works in that world. But when you're an artist, that's all you're thinking about is art. You're not really worried about business. You want your art stuff to be heard. So you get taken advantage of. They've made bad decisions, but trying to make good decisions now. But hopefully it goes back to the artist and stays with them like it should be.
And there are bands nowadays that can more or less create their own buzz and their own following, not just through touring and hitting the ground, but doing that on top of social media, the internet, YouTube, all of those formats. And they don't exactly have to have a record label packaging all of their music to sell to consumers. They can go directly to the consumer themselves thanks to all of the access that people have directly to them with the internet.
That's correct, but there is a slight hitch to that, and the hitch is this. When a record company person comes and talks to them, said they can tell them, well, I can expand your reach. I can give you money to make the kind of recordings you need to make, and they can make a good cause that they need you. And then what happens next is you sign a 360 deal. A 360 means that the record company gets merchandise, they get part of touring, they get all these things. And I think that's wrong, too. I think that's wrong, too. So it's up to the new artists and the young people, whoever's out there doing it, to sell their music or have people hear them. I wish them the best of luck, but it's up to them to kind of decide whether they want to jump in bed with these record companies because, they sometimes offer a carrot in front of you that looks pretty nice. And, I don't know. It's a flip.
We're chatting with Neil Giraldo here on AM 1460, the new WXBR, playing the House of Blues at Boston Wednesday night with his wife, Pat Benatar. Circa 2013, you happy with the way that your career has gone to this point? Happy where you're at?
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. I love that we've had strong 35 years, and next year it'll be our 35th year. I like the fact that people are still discovering us, and we continue to reinvent ourselves, and I think that's good. And partially from making these records early on, I try to do things a lot differently. So I think a partial success that we've had was due to the fact that they were all kind of different. We tried to make, I deliberately tried to make records all sound different arranging, different types of styles, and really mix it up. And I think people are discovering that again, and they have never stopped. And it's just been great. Very, very happy with everything.
When you tour and travel and live in such close quarters with your wife as you're constantly on the road, how does that work? Do you guys know how to stay apart at times so that things don't get ugly and you guys don't start arguing?
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't, like I said before, we really don't argue. It's a peculiar situation because, again, back to that passive assertive thing. Now, I discovered golf, and a great bass player, his name was Chucky DeMonico, he played on our True Love record, would tell me all the time, you got to play golf, buddy. You got to play. You're going to love the game. Mentally, you're going to love this game. I said, no, I'm not ready. So I started about 10 years ago playing golf, and that is a really good way to get out. And I can, disappear for 5 hours, and, Patricia can do what she likes, which is reading and stay internal. And then we do know how to stay out of each other's ways. But you know what? We really like our company together, too. So it's really easy. It's really not hard at all.
Alice Cooper credited the game of golf with helping him quit drinking, so I guess golf does have its merits in the world of rock and roll.
Well, golf has started me to drink more. I'm just kidding. No, golf is such a frustrating game. It's one of these things. It's like life. You think you really got a handle on it. Next thing you know, you're as far away as possible as you can get. But it is a great, great game. It really it's helped me too. It really did. It's helped me mentally stay focused and a release because I never stop writing or creating in my mind. I drive actually everybody nuts. I mean, I start writing a song, I get 1/3 of the way, and I show it to Patricia, and then about half an hour later, I say, "Wait, I have another idea I want to play for you." She goes, "Wait, I can't. Wait, you're moving so fast, I can't even get this one going." So, it's a good break for me. I really need that part of my mental side to shut down, and golf does that. So.
Well, we hope you find a nice golf course to play at over the next week or so as you're touring New England. That's Neil Giraldo performing with Pat Benatar Wednesday night at the House of Blues in Boston. Neil, thanks so much for coming on the show this morning. Any final words for our listeners before I let you go?
No, I'm just going to say that I hope the weather's great because that's part of that golf. You can't play when it rains. So I hope the weather's great when we come. I hope everybody has a great time, and we're looking forward to seeing the great people of Boston and all through that area there. We're really excited about coming.
Well, you have 5 shows within the next 2 weeks in the area. Hopefully you'll have a good weather day on at least one of them. That's Neil Giraldo joining us here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. You're listening to the Metro South Morning Show. We'll step aside for a quick break. Back with more of the program after this.